in this video, we're going to focus on how we can create our custom shape. And in this case, our shape is very basic. It will be a square or a rectangle with a connecting line. But this is like a tooltip. However, you will see two differences in this tooltip. Number one is when we hover over from one side to the other, it will instantly appear and instantly disappear. And secondly, when you hover over the tooltip, you will see the tooltip will disappear as well. So that's the only thing that we cannot solve. However, this is very nice already. So let's start to look how to do this. So let's start to explore how to create a custom shape tooltip in Chartjs. So the first thing what we need is, of course, to get a default code. So make sure you go to chartjs3.com getting started, this specific link here above, and you can find the link also in the description box. Scroll down here and then just copy this entire chunk of code. And if you want to understand what this code does, make sure you watch this video that explains it all. So then what I will do here, I will just paste it all in, and I will just cut out this title here, and then paste this in there. Save it, refresh. Alright, there we are. So the next thing what I want to do here is, well, we can start working on the tooltip itself. However, what we will do is we will not use the original tooltip structure. We will use basically the object values they have, but we will not use this shape and modify the shape, because that's not possible, at least not so far as I know. So what we need to do is we need to create another shape, and that shape will have the features all that tooltip has. So that's the whole trick here. So let's scroll down here. To do this, well, first of all, we need to go here in the options, and we're going to create a new plugin, and this plugin will be called the well, let's say plugins. Now we can call this the custom tooltip. So what is very nice about this is that we're going to make it fully in Canvas. So we won't be using HTML customized tooltips. So what we're going to do here now is we're going to say here, let's give this a proper name. Let's call this the custom tooltip block. And then what I will say here, constant custom tooltip equals, and then here we'll say ID. This must be a string value, although we won't be using that. And then here we're going to select what we call the draw timing. In this case, we're going to use after draw. And the reason why is, if you look at this, when we have a tooltip, you can see the tooltip overlaps everything else. And this is on purpose, because the tooltip must be drawn at the very last, meaning that it will be on the very top. If we would draw it before, what will happen is that this tooltip will be hidden behind this bar, or even the grid lines. So we don't want that. We want to make sure that this is always on top. So that's why draw after, meaning we draw first the entire chart, and after everything has been done, then we're going to use the custom tooltip plugin to draw whatever shape we want. That's what we're doing. So now we have this here. So we're going to put in 3 parameters: chart, arcs, and options. In our case, we will be using this. This one usually had no value, but it is required to have this, because the second item in here has certain formulas. Finally, options is basically if you would do something related to this here, and then in the options itself where you can customize certain items. In my case, I will not spend time on that. I will only focus on this one here. So then what we're going to do here is the following. We're going to say here what we call an object destructuring. And object destructuring basically means, because these are all objects here, but what we want to do here with these objects is basically grab the object and split them out into certain values, so we can use shorthands instead of, or shortcut, shorthand or shortcut the same, instead of using the whole object place, like the namespace all in one. So however, I will show you and then you will understand exactly what I'm talking about. So we're going to do here constant, and in this here chart. And then, for example, if you want to get, for example, here the let's say here the chart area, we have to do this chart.chart area. That would be the normal path getting there. That's from this. But now I will say, oh, I don't want to do that. I want to just do this, and now I can just say chart area instead of the whole path. So we have this now. We can remove that. So and what I need here is ctx and chart area. And for the chart area, what will be very important here, well, probably in this case it will not even be important. So we might be able to remove that one. We don't need that one for now. Normally the chart area refers to the positioning here, but in this case I see no value in having that. So what I want to do now is basically we're going to make our tooltip with a line, and then that connecting line, and afterwards we're going to make a rectangle shape with only the simple text of Friday. In this case, I will not spend too much time on anything fancy, just get something done. Alright, so that would mean the following. We're going to say here first of all CTX. Save, and you might wonder what is CTX? CTX refers to drawing something on the canvas. And that canvas is basically the entire item here. So this is very important. If you really want to understand canvas, make sure you learn or explore my canvas series that explains everything that is extremely useful for right now learning how to draw any kind of shape. However, I'm going to draw basic shapes here. So what we're going to do now is we have the CTX save. Save, that would basically mean save whatever we have, all these variables, store them in there so we can use them. And now what we want to do here is basically we have to start exploring. And what I want to explore here now is the chart itself, which is this item. And I want to show you here a specific item that we need. So we're going to say a constant. And let's call this our active point. And what I mean by that is what I want to do is I want to figure out how do we hover over these things and how can we get then this like active yes or no, because that is very important for us. Later on we're going to remove this tooltip, but we need to have another way of the tooltip, or for our own custom tooltip, make sure that we have this feature, understanding that we are on top of something and then are not. So show and hide. So what we're going to do here is the following. I'm just going to grab here what we can maybe even do. Before that, let's do a console log on chart, because that's what we need. Console log on the chart itself. If I save this, refresh, open up developer tab, you can see here we have a lot of things, and if we are hovering on top of it, it will do a lot. If I click here, and then you can see here, and what I want to look for here is basically the tooltip itself. That's just the tooltip information. But you can see here, this is very important here. With the tooltip, we can check here on active, is this true or false? So in this case it says false. If I go on here and then I move back very quickly and somewhere halfway through you will see it here, or why don't we make it so hard for ourselves? We can just grab here the item. So what we need to do in the tooltip, then we can say tooltip active. So I'm going to grab this, and active, and save, refresh. So now you see false. Here we still see false, we still see false. Alright, that's interesting. Everything is false. So what we can do here is the following. We can look for something more specific, and I realize it is not that, it's not the active here, it is the active underscore. This one here, that's the one we need, sorry. So you can see here, this one active now is array or 0, or length of 0, meaning there is none. And the reason why is I'm just hovering on this white space here. So if I refresh now, and I'm going to hover over it, and then I'm going to hover this, there you are. You can see something happens here. If I click here now, and I'm going to look for the underscore active, and our underscore active here, let's see, we need to make sure we have one that is halfway, I guess. Underscore active. Alright, so it doesn't work here at all, so that's fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the following. I'm going to say a dot active, save, refresh. You see here, there you are. So right now it couldn't show, it doesn't show here, but apparently when once you hover it on the right spot, you can see a little bit of information, and those tiny bits of information we need. This is the item we need. You can see here what we get, the index, which is correct because I was hovering on Sunday. We have the data set index, which is also correct because we only have one data set here, and then we have the element with all these variables here, and more specifically we get here certain values as well. This can be very important for us because this might use here for the coordinates. Although there's another way for that, it's even easier, so I'm going to show you that later on. So well, now we have this here, and what is very important for me is just only one thing, is to know, are we hovering on top of it, yes or no, as you can see here. And that's basically what we need. So we need to have here, not only that, active, what we're going to do here is active 0, meaning we have a data set, one data set, save that, and then here refresh. By active 0, you can see here now we get 6, 5, whatever. Alright, so now we have all of this information, and this is the most important part. So what I want to do now is, this should be our active point, helping us to check if we have anything active, or if we're hovering on something, yes or no. So then what I want to do here is another one, is I need to get the index. So what you can say here, constant, and you can say here, I guess the data point, And that's the index number. I mean, remember we had the index number here. You can see here. Let's get this index. So basically what I need here is from the active point dot index. Save that. And alright, so let's see here what happened. Number 88. What am I missing? Active point. Alright. Active point index. Alright, so that is a error, so I just have to check what's going on. Tooltip active. What am I missing here? Let's comment this out. Tooltip active. So let's double check. Alright, I realize this is very important. What is the issue here? And the issue is very simple once you understand it. So we have here this, for example, here. This was the console log, and this is the issue here. It says here, sorry, we cannot read the property of undefined, which is index. And that is weird, because index was readable once we are here. But this is the issue. If I save this and refresh, you can see here, undefined. It's still undefined, but the moment we hover over it here, it is readable. So the issue is we need to have an if statement. Why? We must check if a statement is true, and the statement is simply this. If we have a length of this, or basically if this is true. So what I'm going to do here is make an if statement, and probably we can do that just in here. We're going to just make an if statement because we want to make the condition. The tooltip should only show once we hover over an item. So that's logical. However, here we need to make sure then that all these values, because these values are only shown the moment we hover over an item. So that makes all sense. So we're going to say here if tooltip and an active, and we have a length of 1. If that is the case, in that case, what I want to do here, we can say here the following. Oh, this is very fine here. Just put it like that. Cut this out. Put it in there. Save that. Let's give it proper indentation. Now I should expect here working model. Save that. Refresh. There we are, no errors anymore. And if I would do here console log for the data point, save, refresh, there we are. So if we are on the white space, we don't show anything. If we are here, we do. So that is basically what we had to do here. And so now we have this done here. And I guess maybe we can even move this active point up to here. Oh, sorry, we can. Are we able to do that one? Well, let's try. Not sure. I think it will work. And then we can just put an active point in here. Let's check that. All right. Doesn't allow. Just main reason for this is we have a certain reference here. That is here down. So that makes sense. All right. Doesn't matter. This works, and that's the most important one. So now we have that one. So let's focus on the next part. So what we need to do here is, besides the data point, we also need the data set index. So I want to grab that one, and what I'm going to do here is we can just say a constant data set index equals active point dot data set index. There we are. Then of course if we do now console log here, we should see this one now as well. Save that, refresh. There we are, 0, 0, 0. It will be always 0 because we only have one index. Alright, now we have this. Now what we're going to do is start to draw the item. And what I want to do for that is, of course, we need to figure out what we can call basically the coordinates. So we need to know here the coordinates of the tooltip. Because let's look at this. The tooltip here exactly will be center of this item. So how do we get these kind of tooltip information? Well, luckily there is a very nice feature in Chartjs. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a console log. We're going to use this special built-in option. It's called chart and then dot get data set meta. And then here what I want to do is, in this case, the index number of the data set. So I guess this would be data set index. It'll be that one because which data set we want to get it. And then if I save this, and let's refresh this now and hover over it. Alright, or let's see, do I have here this console log? Let's remove that. We don't need this anymore. Well, Save that and refresh. There we are. So now we get all this information, and look at all the information we get. We get a lot of items here, but what is truly necessary for us is we have to go to the data, click in this, and look at this. Here we have the X and Y coordinates. We're grabbing all of these items, and we want to know exactly here. Basically this, am I correct, the tooltip position? Let's see here, is that the tooltip position, or am I still off point? We have to look here for the item. I think this is the one. Data, let's see. Then we have the data point. It will be, that's this one, and then here, I guess, the tooltip position here is that one. Let me double check. Alright, so I realized that this is not really necessary because I have another function for this. So let me show you this one. So this is why this is, this is quite tricky one as well, even for me. But, alright. So we have the data, and what we want with the data is basically the data index, so the data point. That's the index number of the data item. And then what we can do here, because I guess it's this one, although I cannot confirm it, or at least not yet. So let's confirm that one. And we're going to say here feature. It's called tooltip position. And this position colon and then dot x. So if I have this, what I want to do is let's get the other item as well and see if we get the same expected value. Save that, refresh. Here we are. All right, that is 651, and most likely it would be, I'm not sure which one it is. Well, it will depend if we are hovering on top of a certain item. Alright, so this is the tooltip position for the X. So if I go here now and click on this, and if I go here on our data, do we get, alright, we get exactly the same values. So in this case, we could even pinpoint this. So that's up to you which one you want. I guess they're both identical here. We could even do it like that. If you want to do it like that, we do data. Then again, the data point. And let's see here, that is the data point. Put it in there. And then what we're going to say here, after the data point, we have this, and then we can grab X. I guess this would be fine as well. I do wonder what would be the difference, because this one is a special built-in feature. So if I save this now and refresh, we have exactly the same values. There you are. Alright. So which one you choose doesn't matter. In this case, if I can show it to you, this is usually nicer, but I think this one might be better. So in this, well, I will just grab the upper one because this is a special built-in feature. So I wonder if there might be here any changes that might impact. Anyway, doesn't matter. What I want here is basically the X and Y coordinates. So I'm going to put in this one, but you can use this down as well. Doesn't matter. So next, what we're going to do here then is, of course, you're going to give this. If I save this first, refresh. There we are, X and Y. So that would mean here X would be 600. That means 600 pixels to the left. And then the Y value would mean 176 pixels from up to down. And this is in total of 350 pixels. So that could be, because that's approximately halfway. 175 times 2 is 350. Alright. So that is acceptable. So now we have this one here. What I'm going to do here now is to change these coordinates. Let's say here constant, and let's say this one here constant, and I will say the Y, let's say the Y point, or X point, sorry. And this will be the Y point. Constant Y point equal. Semicolon here, semicolon there. Alright. So now we have the coordinates. So what we want to do next is basically start working with preparing the text as well. Or, well, we can do later on the text. Let's start to draw something. So let's do the first thing. What I want to do here now is, we're going to make a line here up. I'm going to make a very basic shape. So we're going to say, let's go 10 pixels up from this point. Alright, so here now, Canvas, understanding how to draw shapes in Canvas is going to give you basically the freedom to create any shape you want. But I'm going to make a basic shape here. So we say here, draw connector line. And then in here, I'm going to use the following. I want to say CTX. And CTX, remember, this refers to the canvas itself. That's this one here. basically the canvas here with my chart. Then we're going to say here CTX and then begin path, indicating to draw something. So what we're going to draw now is we're going to say first of all CTX.line width. I want to make the line 1 pixel in thickness, and then we're going to say here let's make, because this is a line, so we're going to say CTX.stroke style, and stroke stands for a line. And why? If you think about a canvas is always like a painting. So you have a blank canvas, and then if you are going to paint something with your paintbrush, that line is called a brush stroke. So that's why a line or borderline here is simply a stroke. Same methodology, is the same theme of talking basically. So what we're going to say here, for now, I'll just make it simple. Let's make this black. Later on, we're going to color it, customize based on whatever we have. So once we have this, then I want to say here CTX move to, and this is the starting point of drawing, and here we need basically the starting point, which is the X and Y coordinates. I want to start here. This is the beginning here, and then I want to move up 10 pixels. All right. For that, we have the X and Y point. Copy this, copy that one. That's our starting point. It doesn't draw anything. It just only says, okay, where would you like to start drawing the line? Well, whatever the move to coordinates are. So now I'm going to say here CTX, and then what we want to do is we say line 2. And the line 2 is basically drawing a line where. Remember, what I want to do is I want to have basically a straight line, and I want to go up 10 pixels. So straight line means X, this X point is related to the X coordinate, and the X coordinate is basically the horizontal one, meaning from left to right. Do I want to move it? No. I want to stay in the same position, but I want to go up. And up would mean a Y coordinate, which is vertical. So what I'm going to do here is comma, and then we're going to put the Y point, and then what we're going to do here is we want to go up. If we want to go up, we need to decline the value. Why? Well, let me show you. This is the canvas here. You can see here the height is 350. But this corner, or the very top here, is considered 0, and the very bottom is 350. So that's how it works. So that's why we have now these coordinates that we're drawing here. So we're going to say here minus 10 pixels. Once we did this, then what I want to do here is I want to start confirming the draw. So we're going to say CTX.stroke, which means basically draw the line. Save that, refresh. And now, as you can see here, we are having a tiny line pointing up. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to hide the tooltip. We don't need the tooltip anymore, or at least has no value, because we can validate now we are really at the center, as you can see here. The line and the tooltip, the starting point, exactly matching. Alright, so what I'm going to do here for the options, plugins, I'm going to say here, tooltip, and tooltip will be enabled. Not displayed, but enabled. For legend it's displayed, for tooltip it's enabled. False. Why? I don't know. I guess maybe there's some logical reason for that, probably. So now we have this here. What I want to do now is, well, we can make a circle or something, but I will just make a very simple rectangle. So let's start to draw the next shape, and later on we're going to work on the colors, so don't worry about the colors yet. So then we're going to say here, you can basically grab, well, we don't have to grab so much. All we can do here, let's get this. Oh, that will be fine as well. We can just maintain that, although I just grab it for now. I guess that will be useful. When we put this, we don't need the begin path. No need for the rectangle, then this is a not necessary item. And then what we want to do here is the following. Draw the square or rectangle. And I said maybe the begin path not a necessary item. I might be wrong, I realize, but maybe we need it. Anyway, we can check that once we see it visually. So what I want to do now is the following. I'm going to say here line width as well, and then we can give the line border color a black color for now. And then we're going to say here the following. I'm going to say here as well, we want to have a background color as well, I realize. So we're going to say CTX at fill style. A fill style refers to the background color, and this background color for now I'll say GBA. And then what I want to do here is 0, 0, 0, comma, and then we make this alpha value of 0.8, which is the default value for Chartjs, by the way, for the tooltip. This is like a black, but with 80% visibility, 20% transparency. So now we have that. Let's do the following, which is the CTX fill rec, which is basically drawing a rectangle that is filled with the color, whatever we have in the fill style. So then what I want to do here is the following. I want to say here, what is our starting point? Well, our starting point will be more relative now, because we want to go up here and we want to go here a few pixels. How many pixels here? I guess this will be more dependent on the text. So later on we'll make the text dependent. So for now I'll just estimate. Let's say we are here, and then I want to go 20 pixels back here. Then we make this rectangle like that. Alright. So to do this, I'm going to say here fill rec should not be an equal sign, parentheses. And then we're going to say here, we just do x point. We're going to go to the x point and then minus 20 pixels, comma, and then we're going to say here this is the x point starting point. The y starting point will be of course 10 pixels up. So we're going to be here, and then we do here comma, and what we can do here for now, how many pixels in width. So if this is minus 20 and I want to go 20 and 20, that will be basically approximately 40 pixels. And then for the height here, we could also select something. I guess here, what we want to do here, from the height, I want to go up 20 pixels as well. So I do here minus 20. Remember, I need to go in the negative now. So if I save this, refresh, move over it, alright, so that starts to look nice. And now what I want to do, because if you really look carefully, well, let's lighten up the color. If you look at it, we have no border line. That's what we're going to do now. Let's make a border line. The border line has the same methodology as this, except now we have here the fill rectangle. And remember here we had about stroke. What I said, a brush stroke is a line. So what I'm going to do here is exactly the following, and exactly the same, which is here the fill will be a border line only for the rectangle. We do this one. We say stroke rectangle. And then, once I did this, I can save that, refresh. We should have now beautiful. It matches nicely. Alright, so now we have this here. So what I want to do now is just to make sure we're going to restore all of this. So I'm going to say ctx.restore. And the reason why I do this is I want to delete whatever we have in setup here. So I'm going to copy that and do the same here above to avoid any issues. So the next thing what I want to do here is I want to play around and get the border color in here. Because let's be honest, this one is black, that's fine. But let's make this color matching here, and of course the background color matching there. So we need to play them with this here. So how are we going to do the border color? Well, for the border color, all we have to do is we have to go back here and start to play with this. So basically for the border color, all we need, we have like this item here. I guess we can just maybe get all of this. We just extract this and we do a console log again, and then just look at what is our border color. Alright, let's hover over it. We get here, we get all the information, and we say here in data. Alright, that is fine. I don't want this. I want to have the border color. So let's see where we are. Alright, we need to go probably here in data and data point. Or the data, if I click on this one, do we see the border color here? And let me quickly check. So after checking here, it's not in here. You have to scroll down here. It should be in this one here, data sets. So as you can see here, we get a lot of information already. But what we need here is the background color and the border color here. And we get these here, and you can also see here the index position. So this is very important for us. So I need to go from dataset underscore dataset to be specific. And then I'm going to go here to border color. Then we have to indicate which index position we want. Luckily we have that based on the data point here. So we can say here dot dataset and then dot. Let's grab here the border color. And then the border color here will be based on the index data point. Save that. If I refresh now and go, there we are. We get now all these colors here. So this color we can use now. So what I will do here, and you probably figured out that there's another one as well, but then for the background color, so if I do here background color, we should get also the background color here. There we are. So we get done both. So what I want to do here now is constant. And this constant will be, well, we can say here border color. So we say here, I'll say border or B color, just to make it simple. Keep it at least a bit more unique. And the next one is, instead of border color, it will be constant BG color equal that. So now we have all of this semicolon here. Copy this border color, and the border color will be replaced with this one here. The black will be replaced with the border color. And the background color, we will replace it here. Save that. Refresh. Look at that. Beautiful. So now we have this, and we're on here. You might say, hold on, I see this moving effect. If you move here, it doesn't fade in and fade out. Sadly, this is a quite tough item. So maybe in the near future, once I have that one figured out, I will have that as well. However, this already is, in my personal opinion, already a very good step in the right direction. Anyway, so next item now. So now we have this, we have the colors. We have to now focus on the text. In the text, I'll put in here. So what I'm going to do is the following. I'm going to say here, well, let's first of all say draw text. And then what I want to do here is, I'm going to define the font. So I'm going to CTX font equals, and here we can make it, let's say bolder. So we make it nice, bold. I think font weight 600, 700, whatever that is. And then what I want to do here is 12 pixels. And then here the font family would be Arial. You can use sans serif. I think that's the default one in the Chartjs library. But that's alright, doesn't matter for now. So then what I want to do here is I just want to give this or assign a color. So for that we're going to say fill style equal, and then we're going to say here, I'll just grab the default color. And the default color here is hashtag 666. And by default it already is assigned. So you could basically maintain that if you want, doesn't matter. You can even ignore this because the default is already assigned. Anyway, what we're going to do next is the following. I want to say here ctx.fill, what I need to do here is I need to say here fill text. That's the one we need, fill text. Alright, so in here we're going to now start writing. What I really want to do eventually is to grab these labels here. For now, I will just say here, let's say Friday. I'm going to make that in a comma. And remember, this is a string value for now. And then here, I need to get the position. So now we have to really think, where is the position? Basically, it's the X and Y point. But if I save this and then refresh, you will see here, we're still a bit off target, as you can see. I need to go up. I need to be in the center. I need to go up. So what I can do here is to be in the center, it will be simple. Enter here, say CTX, and we will say here, text align, and then here equal center. The moment we do this, it will be in the center. Just think about that like CSS. Because why is it happening here? Right now we're basically here, but we are now text align left, a basic item in CSS. So it's on the left side first. So what I want to do is I want to push it in the center. So then we are exactly in the center of these coordinates. So save this, refresh. There we are now in the center, but what we need to do is we need to push this up. How many pixels? Well, let's calculate. We have to calculate that one. So what I'm going to do here is the following. I'm going to say here, well, let's look at this. I want to make sure we have that one. How many pixels should we go up? I would say here, maybe, I guess like, we have 10. We could do 10. Let's do that. Minus 10, save that. There we are. We should probably have a bit more. As you can see here, I calculated, if I'm not mistaken, it should be 19 officially. Alright, so that is perfect here. So how is this basically being calculated? Well, we have this of 20 here, and then we have the borders. So we push it 19, that will be exactly in the center, and we have here 10. Because basically, this was 10, the line, the connector line. And you notice one thing with this tooltip, there's one thing that's maybe that might be a downside here is when I hover over the tooltip, I cannot touch it. When the moment I'm outside of this square, I lose the tooltip. So that's the only thing here that's not working. Maybe in the near future I will have it correctly. Anyway, the moment you move away here is out. But how does it calculate? Remember, the connector line is 10 pixels. The other one is 20 pixels. So what I want to do here is basically I'm pushing it with 19 pixels. And when I do that, it will be perfect because we have the borderline here at the very top. That's 1 pixel. And what it really does, it's basically on the baseline. Think about the baseline center, or baseline on the text. So if you look at CSS baseline, you will understand more what I mean, because it's basically the position where we position the text. Think about like a table cell, where you have the column, you can put it top, middle, or bottom. Basically, it's now in the middle. So that's already very acceptable. Alright, anyway, you have to play around with this to make it work properly. So now we have this. So we enter here and say ctx.restore. And once we have this, we can save that, of course, to make sure that everything is now, all these values are not being saved and maybe impacted elsewhere. So now what I want to do is I want to make this more dynamic. I want to get the text. And later on, once we have a bigger width, we need to figure out how do we solve that. So what I'm going to do here is, first of all, we're going to grab the text. So to grab the text here, basically let's go up here and we can start working. Again, here is our coordinates, and I guess it's background color and text. And what I want to do here is, well, what we could do here is basically we can prepare our text. We can do it here somewhere. That's all right. Let's say prepare text, because we'll be needing to prepare a few items, especially the width. We need to calculate that. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to say a constant, and I'll say here the text, and the text will be equal to what? Well, let's copy all of this, and then we can see again, we can get this item here, and I will do here console log for now. Let's say text, save, refresh. All right, open up this. Now we are on here, and all I need here is the specific text. Let's see, that should be here in context. There we are. And then we have here the value part element. And if we are in here, are we in there? No, it's not in the element, sorry. Where it should be probably in the context. It is in the context, and then we need to look for the value. No, let me just quickly check this. Alright, so what we basically needed was, well, after checking, I figured out, of course, we need this one still. So this one will be important. So how do we get this? $context.raw. So I'm going to put that one here. $context.raw. And while working on this, I start to realize that, oh, sorry, not this one here. Put it on there. So on the text here. While working on that, I start to realize that basically we had the other item here. This might be even more useful than the entire item there, but that's alright for now. Later on we can maybe fine tune that one. At least we get the numbers. So the next thing what I need is, well, we can say this is maybe the number text. That's the first one. That will be this. And then what we should have another one, it would be the text label. So what I want to do now is basically the text. So we can say here, text itself, maybe that will be fine, and the text is the following. Go back here and we're going to grab here again the data set, or get this part here, and then if I save this, refresh, hover over this. Oh, I need to make sure that this is here. Save that. There we are. Click on this. Now we get here a lot of information that we need, and then we click here on the I scale, and if we are on the I scale, we can find here the official term. We have the ticks here. And what I'm looking for in the I scale is the underscore label items. Click on that. Click on this. There we are. So we have here the color. You can see even the font family. Apparently it's Helvetica. Alright. And then you have here the label. So how do we get there? Well, let's hover over it and see if we can find this. iScale.label items 0. Label. Alright, so I scale, say that I scale is capital S, and then it was the underscore label items, and then let's validate if that is capital I. Alright, underscore label items. Then here we have the index number, and this index number is from our data point. So it's a data point, and then we say here dot, and then what I want to do here is probably the label. Save that, refresh, move over it. Alright, so now we've got everything. There we are. So now we have this, and that was a real tricky one. So we could just copy this text, put it in here. That's the first one. Save that, refresh. Alright, so now we get this. But you might say, hold on, what happened if I have now the following? I have Wednesday like this. Save that, refresh. Now we have a problem. Alright, so let's solve this tiny issue. So in here, we can also measure the width of the text. So that's what we're going to do now. So that's why we have this text here. And then what we're going to say here, constant. And this constant will be, I guess, here our text width. And the text width equals the following. We're going to say here ctx dot measure text. And the measuring of the text will be this here. And then we say here dot width. Doing that, we will get the official width of the text. Copy this, save that there. Save, refresh. Alright, so you can see now in pixels how many times the text is in the width. And here we should have a big one. As you can see, 66 pixels plus plus. Well, this one is on average 21 something. So they're all about 20 plus, 25, 22 to 25, I guess. So what we want to do here now is let's fix this and make this one then thicker. So we have this width here. We can copy this text width and put it in here. So we have here on the Y. And what we need to do with the Y is we cannot say only plus this, because you might say, all right, we just have to plus that one here. Sorry, am I correct here? No, not even here. We need to figure out here our item that is in the rectangle, of course. So you might say this, and then we're going to say, because right now we had this hard-coded. You might say, all right, we just have to do like this. And same here. Save that, refresh. So there we are. So if you do this, you can see we get this error here. Look at this. It's not even in the center. Some might be. This one is not. This one not. All right. So what do we need to do here? What we need to do here is just basically this must be divided by 2. This is the reason why. Because we want the left and right exactly the same. So we should divide it by 2, and that will help us with our structure. So I'm going to grab this. Put in here. Sorry, that's not what I want. I want this one, divide by 2. Same here. Same methodology. And then here, the width is not 40 pixels. No, the width will be text width. Dynamic. Save that. Refresh. Alright, so now we have this. But of course, look at this. That looks absolutely horrible. What's the issue? We forgot some paddings. So now we need to do padding because now we have the official size exactly matching the text. So let's go to text width. Here we could say here maybe plus 20 pixels. Save that. Refresh again. Oh, did it work? Oh, sorry, not here. We're going to do this plus here, of course, not in the console. Save that. Refresh. There we are. So now we have this, and this looks all beautiful. And of course, you might say, well, how do I put in the number? Well, in the text width, we can control that as well. So we have here the text, all right. So let's say what you want to do is not only, well, we need to have the text width correctly. Well, that's this one here, sorry, the text itself. And what is the text here? Well, let's say our text would be not only this, but I also want the number. We have the number text here as well. So what we need to do here, I'm going to use here a template literals. So you do backtick, and the backtick is basically below your keyboard on the escape, below the escape button. I'm going to use here $sign to make sure that this is being read as a variable. Then I will say here maybe colon, and this is a string, that's why it's yellow. That's very nice here with this template literals because it's an easier way for concatenation. And then what I want to do is I want to grab here the number. So you can say here $sign, and then there we are. So if I save this, this text here will be equal here, it will be all match. There you are, there you are, there you are, and there you are. And this is basically how you can create a tooltip style. Although not 100% identical, because as you can see here, it will disappear once we hover over the tooltip. It doesn't work. You need to only hover over this shape, and the movement is instant. There's no gradual fading and gradual visibility in here. So if you enjoyed this video and maybe you want to learn like custom shapes or different shapes or even more, I'm going to recommend you to watch my Canvas API JavaScript tutorial for beginners. And this will cover a lot of things, and it's still ongoing, so there will be more items, but it will cover many different shapes. What we did there, you should know, because this is basically here more, or at least here you give more control on the shape what we make. You will learn how to make all different types of shapes. It's very useful as well to watch, and this is really geared with the mindset of using it in Chartjs to make customized items.